It's that time of day when I can't really record anything without being bathed in this very noirish light. Here's looking at you, kid. Anyway, do you remember when Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said there was no classified information being shared in that illicit Signal group chat?
Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
Well, as it turns out, there definitely was, absolutely was, and the Atlantic released it this morning, basically proving the administration in its claims that it did nothing wrong, false. I recommend you check out the whole story, but here I think is the choicest piece because this is relatively detailed information. We have targets, we have when the operation is going to take place, we have the aircraft that are going to be used, we have the munitions that are going to be used. This is information that if it got into the hands of someone who wanted to stop the airstrike, maybe who wanted to put up air defenses, they could absolutely have used to coordinate an effective defense. If any service member or intelligence officer of any rank had shared this kind of information, they would have put them underneath the prison, straightforwardly. And one testament to the fact that the rule of law in the United States has been completely degraded is that we all know there are not going to be any meaningful consequences for anyone who was on this chat. The one last thing I'm going to say here, and this is probably the one thing that's not going to get a ton of attention in the coverage, but it's worth saying, is that first, it's unclear if this was a lawful airstrike because it's unclear if the president actually ordered it. But second, and more importantly, to just get one target, they authorized a strike that destroyed an entire apartment building and then celebrated this in the chat. You know, one of the things that always bothered me a lot is this idea that Donald Trump is some sort of candidate of peace because he wants to give Ukraine away to the Russian Federation. But if you looked at his actual record in office during his first administration, you'll see quite clearly that he had no regard whatsoever for civilian casualties, that he expanded the use of drone strikes, but took no regard whatsoever for any kind of collateral damage to civilians. And in this administration, he has freed his subordinates to pursue military options without any concern whatsoever for who else is killed. I'm not an expert by any means in international conflict and the law, so please don't take my word for this. But it sure seems like to me, by my lay estimation, that the top officials of the Trump administration were bragging in a group chat about committing a war crime.